tradition that we have followed for many, many years where as you are introducing the budget for the forthcoming fiscal year, that you present it to members of the council. There may or may not be some questions from us as we are all seeing this for the first time, but this is an important part of the process. You will be introducing the budget and the Budget Support Act later today, and then formally presenting it to the council and the public at our briefing that we have scheduled for Monday, April 4th. We're on a clock, just so that everybody knows this. I believe the clock is 70 days, and we have a date where we've scheduled the first vote on the budget, May 17th, and then 2 weeks later we will vote a second time. This is the new process under budget autonomy. Thank you for your support in that regard.
Thank you for your leadership,
comments,
Mr. Chairman. Your
comments the other day at your State of the District speech. And I believe, well, I'll let you speak to this, but I believe you'll be submitting two budgets as required under the budget autonomy law. So we're here to hear your what your proposal is for fiscal year 2017.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank all of the members of the council, all of the agency directors, and all the members of the public who have participated in our development of this, our 20th consecutive balanced budget that we will submit formally to the council today. Let me also thank the members of the Chief Financial Officer's office who have been working with us every step of the way on this budget to let us know the revenues available to be included in this budget. I also like to, before I say anything more, Mr. Chairman, if you would join me in just a recognition of the life and work of Paul Quander, who was a great servant of the District of Columbia. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I will turn it over to the city administrator who, with the budget office and the directors, have developed this budget. We're very proud of what we have before you. It will make the investments that we've promised in building a strong middle class in Washington, D.C. There are several pillars that are our focus in this budget: schools, public safety, infrastructure, and the people of Washington. And so I will actually not say a lot more about that, and turn to the city administrator to run through the summary of what's in the budget.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the council. We are pleased to present to you today our fiscal year 17 budget. I'm going to walk through our approach and sort of the sources and uses and some of the elements in the budget. As the mayor indicated, the budget will be available for your full review today. The Budget Support Act will also come later today to you and to the public. First, let's talk about the approach that we had to developing this budget. We had some principles in our process, and it began with engaging the public first before we finalized the budget to really figure out what was most important to them. Then we challenged our agencies to fund the priorities of the community and of the mayor first. And then we've also focused on where we could be more efficient and better leverage existing resources by focusing on underspending in agencies, vacancy management and personnel management, and gaining program efficiencies. It was also important to maintain our investments in our workforce to ensure that we remain competitive in retaining and attracting the best talent. And finally, we focused on preserving the middle class tax reductions that were passed by this council. Just to talk a little bit about the tax relief package. As you all well know, the Tax Revision Commission recommendations funded a series of tax reductions. For fiscal year 17, $93 million of those recommendations have been implemented, with $139 million remaining. The recurring revenue that was forecasted in the February estimate will implement $10 million to reduce unincorporated and incorporated business franchise taxes, dropping that rate from 9.2% to 9%, and then $6.5 million to raise the estate tax threshold from $1 million to $2 million. The next two items, as they are sequenced and prioritized in the recommendations that would be funded, would be $8.3 million to further increase the standard deduction, and then $12.8 million to increase the personal exemption to $2,200. So our budget process began in November of 2015 with discussions with our agencies about their priorities and how they would align their budget to their mission, as well as to the goals of the district as outlined by the mayor. We then had a series of budget engagement forums, and I'll talk a little bit more about those in a moment, where we asked the public to give us their input into their priorities. We had meetings with the council members to understand your priorities and needs and desires, and then we took all of that information and deliberated and worked through the process with our staff and agencies and with the CFO's office to develop the budget that we're presenting to you today. Our budget engagement forums, as we talked about, there were 3 sessions, and we asked the residents to participate in an exercise. We gave them $100 and said, how would you allocate that $100 to the various priorities of the government? The average allocation was a bit telling because the average allocation was $102.16, which is greater than the amount of money we had to allocate. I think that suggests that residents have an appreciation for how difficult it is to balance the competing priorities that we have in the services that we provide to the community. Even though they were slightly over, and not many of them suggested raising taxes as a way to fund that additional $2.16. But even though they were slightly over, what we found is that education remains the top priority. It was the top priority that we heard last year. It was the top priority this year. 23% of individuals thought that education was among the most important of our priorities to fund, followed by health and human services, and then housing. So we try to keep that in mind in the budget that we submit to you. When we talk about the total sources of funds for the district's budget, it is $13.4 billion in fiscal year 2017. The largest proportion of that source are local funds at about 54% of that amount at $7.3 billion. And of course, you know the local funds primarily are made up of our tax revenues like property tax, income tax, and sales tax. When we look at the uses of funds for the gross funds budget of 2017, 34% of that is invested in the health and the human support services area, 18% in public education, 10% in public safety, 6% in government direction and support. When you look at our investments on the local fund side or the operating budget side, again, the total amount of our local funds budget for fiscal year 17 is $7.3 billion, with the largest percentage there being in public education at 28%, health and human services at 25%, and then public safety at 16%. Looking at our growth pattern over time, this budget is one of the lowest growth budgets in the district's recent memory. In fiscal year 17, we are proposing a budget that is 3.15% greater than fiscal year 16. And so this really constrains our ability to fund new initiatives while still providing funding for the services, while funding services that we currently provide. So where did we start? When you look at the cost to do tomorrow that which we do today. So if we take the budget in fiscal year 16 and make the assumptions of the growth and the costs, then we have a budget that will increase by 3.9%. against a revenue increase of 3.15%. So just to provide the services that we're providing today, we have a bit of a delta between what it costs to run the government versus what we have available to fund the government. When we consider the additional priorities that we hear from the community and that have been outlined by the mayor, we have additional costs that we have to factor in. So we have costs like the Housing Production Trust Fund that we have to account for in fiscal year 17. Our investments in education, both for our DCPS and our public charter schools and the University of the District of Columbia. Advancing our homeless services strategy and the system redesign that we have there. Our Safer, Stronger initiatives with investments in the crime lab, in the medical examiner's office, in the police department, EMS reform, corrections reform, workforce training, early childhood education. All of these additional priorities cost resources. And so that puts us in a position where we have to make trade-offs and make articulate our priorities and make investments to balance the budget. So how did we balance the budget? There are a number of ways that we pursued balancing the budget. First is we had some savings from our OPEB, other post-employment benefits. This is really health insurance for retirees. So the CFO's office did an actuarial analysis and determined that the utilization of OPEB by retirees is much less than what we have forecasted. And so we are paying more into the fund for a population base that is not using that at the same rate. That allowed us to have roughly $70 million in savings that we can pass through not only fiscal year 17, but the rest of the financial plan. We use some carryover in reserves, and so just as last year we examined our special purpose revenue funds and made some decisions to sweep those funds and have those resources added to fiscal year 17 and throughout the financial plan. We did have the benefit of the projection of increased revenue, so 3% in increased revenue equates to about $220 million. That helped us fund our base services and priorities. And then, of course, we challenged our agencies, as I talked about in the beginning, to really look at their budgets in terms of their spending patterns, how they could be more efficient with their resources, how they can better manage their contracts, and deliver services to also capture those savings. So let's talk a little bit about what is in this budget. So in the economic development, jobs, and housing category, we are fully funding the WMATA operating subsidy at $368.6 million. We have an additional $1.5 million to add 20 traffic control officers to help advance our Vision Zero initiatives, $4.8 million to fund the Marion Barry Summer Youth Employment Program, $4.5 million to continue the funding of our DC Career Connections program. Of course, $100 million to the Housing Production Trust Fund, as that is a commitment that we will continue to make for $100 million each and every year for affordable housing. And then we're taking $15 million to the Housing Authority to be used for deferred maintenance and rehabilitation of public housing. This really comes from unspent money that the Housing Authority will have in their local rent supplement program. There are timing issues with when units become available and when residents identify a unit to move into. So that money collects there. And so what we've done is worked with the Housing Authority to say we'll take that money that we know will not be spent for that LRSP program in the fiscal year and invest that in rehabbing and making more efficient public housing units. In the education space, there's $75 million of additional funding for DCPS and our charter schools. This is based on both the projected enrollment, which we expect to increase by 4.2% over last school year, as well as a 2% inflationary cost increase to the per student enrollment formula. Altogether, that means $75 million additional dollars on the operating side for public schools and public charter schools. $3.6 million to improve quality in our child care slots, $1.6 million for early literacy grants, just over $1 million to improve the data systems in OSSI, $5.2 million of additional funding for the University of District of Columbia and the Community College, which will take their subsidy to $76.2 million in fiscal year 17, $5.2 million in Parks and Recreation for summer programming, for staffing, and for staffing, $4.4 million to the Charter School Credit Enhancement Fund. This is a fund that charter schools can use as credit enhancements or loan guarantees to be able to access capital to make capital improvements in their facilities, and then fully funding the Books to Birth program through the public library. In the public safety space, we have $12 million to annualize the costs of the third-party ambulance initiative, additional investments to OUC so that we can hire an additional 34 call takers and dispatchers. This not only will improve the service delivery at OUC, but allow for much-needed training to occur there. $8 million to carry forward our investments in the district's crime lab, an additional $2.5 million to fund the experienced officer training program. This allows for lateral entry of police officers who have training from other jurisdictions or are coming from the military with the appropriate training. $5.9 million in one-time costs for the Department of Corrections to assume the operation of the correctional treatment facility. So as you know, there is a third-party provider part of our detention center system. That lease and that arrangement, that contractual arrangement, expires in February of 2017. We've made the decision to bring that operation in-house, and so we will run the correctional treatment facility as in addition to the central jail facility. This really allows us to be able to focus on better reentry programs for our residents that are returning to the community. It will allow us to get our federal prisoners back to DC earlier so that we can properly engage them. And over time, this will reduce our costs to run the correctional system. $3.1 million for body-worn cameras, $750,000 to the medical examiner's office to continue synthetic drug testing and add mortuary staff, $2.8 million to continue our civilianization initiatives at MPD so that we can return sworn officers to more appropriate law enforcement positions, and then continuation of funding of $2.2 million for the Show Up, Stand Out truancy prevention program. In the Health and Human Services cluster, we're continuing our investments in our Homeward DC plan, and so we're recommending an additional $13 million to advance that plan. This will focus on both prevention and rapid rehousing for families, for singles, and prevention, diversion, and crisis beds and transitional living for the youth population. $10 million for our TANF policy at DHS. What we're proposing is to extend by another year the TANF, those individuals who are facing the cliff on TANF. As the mayor indicated in her state of the district, we are aware that council has a bill with at least 6 co-signers to look at the TANF policy and either add categories or change how the TANF process will work. We think it's prudent to allow that policy discussion and debate to occur, and so we're recommending extending those individuals who are facing the cliff on TANF for another year so the policy debate and the stakeholder discussions can occur about ultimately what our TANF policy will look like. $9 million for additional improvements to the DC access system, otherwise known as DCAS, which helps us modernize our eligibility systems in human services. $1.5 million for the ACE and PASS programs, and $800,000 for the Joyful Food Markets initiative. In government operations, we're making additional investments in our Office of Contract and Procurement. additional investments in our Office of Risk Management to support the efforts of limiting our risk exposures and being able to return workers to their jobs more quickly, continuation of our LEAP program in DPW, and $1 million to advance our public-private partnership office as it starts to consider and analyze potential P3 projects in the district, and $400,000 to implement the Fairness to Injured Workers Act, which requires us to give cost of living increases to those individuals who are on workers' compensation. And talking about, let's shift to the capital budget. So for fiscal year 17, our capital budget is $1.3 billion. The 6-year plan is $6.27 billion. This is a slide of the sources of those funds. The majority of those funds come from debt financing or either GO or income tax related bonds. And then you can see the other categories of sources that we have there. I will note that PAYGO is increased a bit here from what you'll see in the last year plan. And so PAYGO is at $80 million in fiscal year 17. When we look at uses of the capital budget, you can see that the uses are consistently the two largest uses, both in our investments in education and in the Department of Transportation. So 33% of our uses for 17 go to education, or specifically DCPS, and 31% for the Department of Transportation. And then you can see the rest of the allocations so listed. We have made a significant investment and a pretty significant shift in our strategy about how we will address school modernizations. And so in this capital plan, at the completion of it, 98 school modernization projects will be completed, and that is 98 out of the DCPS inventory of 112 schools at a cost of $1.3 billion. Just as a point of reference, we've spent $4 billion on school modernizations through 2016, and we're shifting our strategy to move from the summer blitz projects of school and how we did school modernizations to full modernizations. And we used a criteria that was developed under the leadership of Councilmember Grasso, and we're looking at weighting and applying that criteria to all of the schools, but also looking at prioritizing the completion of our middle schools, the completion of our high schools, and then sequencing those schools according to how and when swing space is available. For the capital budget, we are investing an additional $220 million of capital resources in fiscal year 17 and 18 to do complete modernizations of schools. Again, the 6-year CIP completes all of our comprehensive and selective high schools, 3 middle schools, and 12 elementary schools. The CIP reflects our commitment from last year to renovate the Martin Luther King Memorial Library. It has $61 million for other neighborhood libraries and $172 million for parks and recreation. In economic development and housing, $127 million for our significant and signature development sites, including Walter Reed, McMillan, St. Elizabeth's, and Hill East. $53 million for new communities, $831 million to fully fund the 6-year capital subsidy for WMATA. $416 million for streetcar and circulator. Our emphasis on streetcar is to complete the streetcar to the Benning Road Metro. $31 million for neighborhood tree planting, green space management, and pedestrian safety. In public safety and infrastructure, we continue to make investments in our crime-fighting technology, $115 million for fleet acquisition and improvements to MPD and FIM's fleet, $20 million for a new harbor patrol facility. We're making significant investments in our local roads and bridges programs, our alley maintenance and sidewalk and curbs, $699 million for the Frederick Douglass Bridge, $134 million for the Consolidated Public Works Facility. This comports with the Ward 5 Works Master Plan, and then $66 million for the Kenilworth Landfill and Anacostia River cleanup. So as I close, we have a lot of things that we do in district government. As we often remark and just talked about a couple of weeks ago in New York at the rating agencies, we are both a city, a county, a state, and a school district. And so we have a number of things that our residents expect of us and a number of priorities that we have to invest in. And what we know is that we've got to get those investments right, because it is all of the investments that we make across the spectrum in education, in public safety, infrastructure, and in the viability of our residents that will really allow people to have a sustainable quality of life in the district. So we're proud of the budget that we're presenting to you this morning. We look forward to the discussion and the debate and the dialogue with you and the community about our recommendations. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, did you want to add anything at this point?
No, I think that we've kind of covered it all. We made every effort to hear from the members of the council about the priorities, and I think that we've reflected quite a number of them.
Before I ask colleagues if any of them have questions, and of course there'll be a lot of questions as the committees go through their review and make the recommendations to the full council with regard to final action. I just want to say this, and I want to congratulate you for the work that you've done putting this budget together. I might as well also congratulate you, even though you've already been congratulated for completing the fiscal year in very good health, and that helps to set up this budget for the forthcoming fiscal year. I know there's a lot of work that goes on, that goes into putting this budget, this proposal together. And I know that over the last several months, I have heard, and other council members have heard from some agencies who were kind of upset with, well, we're going to be cutting, we've been asked to cut all this, but that's all part of the process of putting together this proposal, which strikes me on first blush as being a very good and sound proposal. So I want to thank you for that and all of the work that is behind that. Let me see if there are any colleagues who have questions. We'll start with you, Councilman Nadeau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Mayor, thank you for putting together such a strong budget. I wanted to ask if you could talk about the funding level for the trust, the youth trust.
Sure, I'll ask the city administrator to. Brenda, there she is.
Thank you, Council Member. The mayor's budget has $5.9 million in funding for the trust for the basic line item, and that anticipates the year-round after-school funding and summer funding, which historically has come mid-year and has been stressful for the trust and a lot of the programs to gear up for the summer. So we built that into the baseline budget request for the trust.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I don't see any other questions. Okay, Mr. Johnson.
I wanted to just ask about, I don't know what the rest of the administrator, you mentioned additional money for NPD, specifically what, but is there any funding for the maintenance of renovations associated with the daily building?
There is funding for some maintenance and repair of the daily building. What we're doing a couple of things in terms of the long-term issue with daily building. The near-term issue is to find some space to move the chief's staff out of the daily building into other spaces. They're on the top floor of that building, and it consistently leaks into those offices and ruins offices and furnitures and fixtures and et cetera. The longer term strategy for daily is one to examine it for a P3 opportunity. So as we're moving through our P3 process and looking at potential projects, that is one that is under serious consideration that we want to have some full analysis on. But we have some resources because we know we're going to have to go back into daily until we figure out a strategy for its long-term positioning or replacement to make those emergency repairs.
Just in case somebody's wondering what we're talking about, that is the
Oh,
MPD
headquarters,
headquarters
thank you.
that is at Judiciary Square next to the courthouses. That also has a cell block in the basement and is in probably the most disrepair of any of our public buildings. So there will be some emergency things, to the city administrator's point, that we have to do, including identify how we're going to swing the staff when the renovations can occur and how soon they can occur.
Councilmember Grasso?
I just want to say that I appreciate the investment that you've made into the education sector. We'll look at it closely with you, and I especially think the commitment to capital improvements is very important. We have a little ways to go, as you've mentioned many times, and the city to get behind that and do it and finish the job there, so to speak, although we may never be done, but certainly keep pushing in the right direction is demonstrated in your budget, and I really appreciate that. I also appreciate some of the programs that you're backing, the Books from Birth program, the early childhood literacy grants. These are things that I think are having a huge impact on education, and I just think that it's really great that you've recognized that and put it in your budget this year. I look forward to working with you and your team to move this through quickly.
Thank you, Council Member. And we just circulated to the members a summary, and keep in mind that we've pulled together figures in dollar figures over several administrations and several different iterations of school construction. So while they might not be precise to the dollar, but we did our best to talk about the types of renovations that have happened across the city. And I actually think that we should be very proud. Out of 112 public school buildings, we have done most of them, and at the end of this CIP, we will have 2 handfuls of schools to do. So we can get there, and we don't. However, at this moment, we haven't identified how we will fund those remaining schools. So that is very important for us to think about. Even if we figured out a way to fund it within this 6-year plan, I think we could add more schools because we have the capacity to do them. Now we would have to have the money to do them, and we can take that up in the next year. And I, too, want to thank the council for your focus on early literacy and, as you know, the Chancellor's program, and we are always encouraging more people to join the 500 for 500. I'm in the 500 for 500. I tutor Tyler at Malcolm X, and I had the benefit of training from one of our early literacy providers, so we know that can be very helpful.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just make one more note. I also think it's extremely important that you guys have stepped up on the jail question and taken over that contract moving forward. I think there's a lot of planning that has to happen there and a lot of work we have to do as we kind of point towards rebuilding that jail and doing it in the right way with the right size. And hopefully, like you mentioned in your State of the District, bringing home as many of our residents who are spread out throughout the country in federal prison as quickly as possible. So thank you again for that, and I look forward to supporting and working on that as well.
Thanks. So you'll give me the opportunity to clarify. I said in my speech the other night that we were taking over the D.C. jail. I should have said that we were taking over the other part of the D.C. jail. So now we will have all of our operations, and Director Faust feels very strongly about having access to that program and to the additional space. The additional space there will allow us to do exactly what you mentioned, and that is the sooner we can get our federal prisoners home, the better we can control the type of reentry services that they have.
Councilmember Bowser?
Thank you. Mayor, I just wanted to add my voice of support and appreciation for your budget, and particularly as it relates to housing. Thank you for that commitment again. Housing advocates I know they're cheering you. All the yellow shirts are out this morning, and I expect that there will be more that will cheer you for that. And I also want to thank you for the commitment to the repairs in public housing. That's so important. If I understood you correctly, there would be no a decrease in the local rent supplement vouchers, so we're very excited about that. So all in all, housing looks good, and there are other programs that I'm excited about as well. Your commitment to our returning citizens is very important. Because they too add to our base number of return or persons who are here, adding to our residential count on a monthly basis. So I'm really happy about that. And also very, very appreciative of the monies that you're trying to allocate as it relates to early childhood development. That's so very important. And I want to also compliment you on thinking and understanding that as we walk the sidewalks, as we ride these vehicles or bikes, that there are great need for attention to our infrastructure, particularly our roads. So I thank you very much.
Councilmember May.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mayor, I just want to, I appreciate all the hard work that your team has done, and really want to thank you for your commitment in the Aussie child care slots. I know that's been a push from my colleagues, women on the council, to make sure that we're looking at the needs of children. So, very grateful for that and your commitment to that, and for the DC Connection. On the Work Connection program, so we know how vitally important that is, especially for the residents of Oregon. So we really appreciate the commitment and look forward to working with them, pushing these steps forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember.
Councilmember Orange.
Yes, I just wanted to follow up on the public safety initiative, $5.9 million for public corrections treatment facilities. When you say we want to get our returning citizens home quicker, what is that?
What that means, and I can have the director also speak to this, is that we can have space where people at the end of their federal terms would qualify to come to serve out the remainder of their time at the DC jail.
So I guess it's so that when they go to the halfway houses, finish up and I guess have a smooth transition back into the communities.
Yes, and I'm gonna have Faust speak to that question a little bit more.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Councilman Orange, just thank you. What part of this would do is allow us to work with the Federal Bureau of Prisons to bring returning citizens back earlier so that we will have a better ability here in the district to make better linkages to services upon reentry. In other words, if someone's in a federal system where we could bring that person back through the district, say 6 months prior to release, for example. And then that way, that person, instead of being in Idaho or somewhere else in a federal facility, will be here in the district. And then we can work much better in terms of forming linkages with the community, having more involvement of our, engaging our stakeholders, and making those connections so that upon reentry, having, I think, a more successful reentry planning process.
And would that dictate that we need more capacity in our facilities?
We have the existing capacity, yes.
So can you, council member, you should know that our jail population is down to what?
Yes, well, so we have two facilities. The central detention facility, which the district is currently running, our current population there right now is at about 1,300. The actual full capacity of that at absolute capacity is 2,100. The central treatment facility, which is what we're talking about insourcing back, our population there right now is around 500, and we can hold about 1,300. So we have the capacity to do that. On average, about 130 to 140 returning citizens are coming back from the Federal Bureau of Prisons on a monthly basis. So we have somewhere around 130 or so every month that are returning from the federal system. So what we would like to do, again, is return those people back earlier so that, again, we can have more enhanced planning and make better linkages within the community.
So that would include, of course, an arrangement with the BOP around payment. The BOP would continue to be responsible, and we would make space available. Having control, because right now the contractor controls that capacity. Bringing those services in-house gives us control over all of that capacity. And so I would just also like to thank, most recently when I met with Councilmember Bonds, it was a day that we were at the jail, and we spent a number of days at the jail. And I know the director would love it if you all want to make some time to come to the jail to see the things that he's been able to do there. I would encourage it.
I want to ask about the employees' compensation fund, the $400,000 to improve the fairness of Individuals Act. But also, particularly, I guess we're hearing rumors that it possibly come to a position of unemployment insurance benefits. You may know I have a bill that's in my committee. I've been sitting on the fact that we're releasing a monster on us increasing our weekly benefits. In Virginia, I think it's $378 per week. In Maryland, they're up to $430 per week. The bill that's sitting in my committee is $430 per week with annual increases pursuant to the CPI. I do know that the fund has approximately $300 million in the unemployment insurance fund. So I was kind of holding off to kind of see when we're going to be able to reach some type of agreements. But I do believe it's about 11 members or so that signed on to the bill.
And Councilmember, I'll deal with the first piece first. The employees' compensation fund, the $400,000. So we were in a legal suit around the cost of living increases that we afforded or didn't afford to people on workers' compensation. So part of that settlement and agreement is to make those cost of living increases, as we make them available to our employees in the district, to make them, they're our employees anyway, to make them to individuals who are on workers' compensation. So that's what this represents. To your question about unemployment, we are looking at that bill and modeling the cost of that, and so I think we'll be in a position to come back to you shortly with our feedback about where that stands.
Okay, that would be great, because I'm getting a lot of pressure, and there was a hearing, and that took up a bulk of the hearing time on this particular aspect, and especially when we have a fund that has an excess of $350 million in the fund to start making these payments, and we're the lowest in the region.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. I think that's all the questions from council members today, but of course there'll be many more as the committees go through the process of looking at this. The next step with regard to the budget is your presentation to the council on April 4th, and I appreciate that you will be doing that. And if I remember correctly, the procedure that we followed for years is that you will present however you want to present, and then members will have one round of questions for you and maybe some additional rounds for the city administrator or the budget director.
Okay.
Start putting them through their paces.
Very good. Thank you. And following this, I will be available for questions from the press in our briefing room on the ground floor. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.